So everyone has their favorite Batman portrayal, unless you hate the character. But for those who love him, one Batman is usually the iconic Batman. But even so, some Batmen are better than others. I'm Sasha Wood, and let's try to examine why by counting down the top 10 best Batman portrayals by an actor. We're gonna go from worst to best, and this is not a slight against any of the actors on this list. You can be a great actor and give a terrible performance. Number 10. Val Kilmer from Batman Forever. Directed by Joel Schumacher and released in 1995, this Batman film served as a steep departure from the previous in the series, Tim Burton's Batman Returns. Schumacher wanted to bring Batman back to a zany, campy Silver Age feel, like the successful parody that had been the 1960s Batman TV show. At the time, people responded well to this tonal change. However, since then, that fondness has dimmed a little bit, and it must be noted that Kilmer did not return for the film's sequel. His stint as Batman is actually often forgotten.
George Clooney, Christian Bale, Michael Keaton.
It's Val Kilmer.
Oh, yeah.
In a film of memorable moments, he doesn't really stand out all that much. His Bruce Wayne doesn't quite make an impression as he is very soft-spoken and unassuming. He fares a bit better as Batman, but only because he matches the tone of the rest of the film, and his more modest performance serves as a good counterbalance to Carey's Riddler and Jones's Two-Face. However, is it a good performance if people often forget you were ever Batman? Probably not. Someone you probably thought was number 10 in at number 9, George Clooney from Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin was released in 1997, directed again by Joel Schumacher, and it is considered by many to be the worst Batman movie ever made. The director has even apologized to any people he disappointed with this film.
If I disappointed them in any way, then I really want to apologize, because it wasn't my intention.
However, at the center of the bad jokes and awkward bat nipples was Batman himself, George Clooney. Clooney was considered a heartthrob and sex symbol by many, and people assumed with his suave persona he would be a natural as Bruce Wayne and Batman. But Clooney's performance comes off as phoned in at best. He just doesn't seem overly interested or invested. It's a very low-key performance in an otherwise zany film that seems really out of place. The only good factor is Clooney is a good sport about it. He signs pictures when people bring them to him ironically, and says, "I always apologize for Batman and Robin." On why he took the role, he says, "I thought at the time this was going to be a very good career move." It wasn't. Clooney was worried the film destroyed the Batman franchise, but as we all know, it didn't stay dead. One of the more recent revivals in at number 8, David MAZOUZ from the TV series Gotham. Gotham began airing in 2014, and as of the time of this recording, it is still ongoing. David is unique on this list because he is only portraying Bruce Wayne, not yet Batman. This whole show has some pretty big problems for many Batman fans, a large one being the ages of the villains as well as how many are introduced. What many were expecting to be a show about Gotham PD has turned more into a series cataloging the origins of Batman villains. As for MAZOUZ's Wayne, he is full of rage and some pretty chilling sociopathic tendencies. In all fairness, his parents did just die. Still, some scenes make one fear more for the villains of the future, especially since they'll be geriatric. However, MAZOUZ turns in a performance that is strengthened with age and matches the show's direction. The only thing is, it's not a direction everyone is behind. Gotham is definitely a show that would have benefited from a time skip Young Justice style. Right now it seems a little lost. So he gets to stay low on this list as he is only half of the Dark Knight. Also, there's still time for the show to pull a 180. No shade if you really like it. I mean, I like Riverdale. Number 7, Will Arnett from the Lego Movie, released in 2014. The Lego Movie was a smash hit with a fun, quirky animation style and some extremely quotable moments. One of the breakouts from that film was Will Arnett's Lego Batman, a satirical version who is bro-y, a womanizer, and takes the cool aspect of the character to the extreme.
We'll wing it. That's a bad pun.
From his heavy metal self-produced song about his dead parents to ditching his girlfriend to go hang out with the Star Wars crew, albeit briefly, people love this so much there is a recently released full Lego Batman movie from February 10th, 2017. Will Arnett has a distinctive voice and comedic style that is both dry yet not sarcastic or always fully self-aware. His Batman is zany, unhinged, and very much a humorous respite for those who are familiar with Batman lore. It may be a bit too silly and kiddie for some, but for those who are willing to accept all forms of Batman, Arnett's will probably give you a chuckle or two. It's gonna be a bit lower on this list, however, because it's a parody version, which means it must exist in contrast to other portrayals. Another dependent portrayal in at number 6, Will Friedle from Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond was part of the DCAU, the extremely popular and successful animated universe that sprung up following the success of the Batman animated series from the 90s. It aired from 1999 to 2001 and followed Terry McGinnis, the new Batman who had taken up the mantle for Bruce Wayne as he had become too old and sick to maintain it. Terry starts off rebellious with a troubled history similar to Jason Todd. However, he has a good heart and a genuine desire to help people. He is taken under Wayne's wing and at first functions very much like a Robin, despite wearing the Batman suit, as Wayne directs him. However, over time, he develops his own villain roster and comes to earn his place as a new Batman for a new generation. Friedel's younger sounding, more optimistic voice created a more approachable Batman who you wanted to grow with. However, some find Batman Beyond to be depressing as it showcases the very sad outcome for Bruce Wayne, which not all fans wanted to see. It's a cool cartoon remembered fondly by many, but Friedle is for most not their iconic Batman. Halfway now at number 5, Christian Bale from the Nolan trilogy. Okay, I'm ready for people to be upset. I know a lot of people really like Kermit Bale's Batman, but is that largely because of the films he's in? Think about it. Batman Begins was released in 2005, 8 years after what many people call the worst Batman film of all time, and it had a new, gritty, realistic tone. It was serious, cinematic, and had one of the most acclaimed sequels in superhero film history. However, Bale's Batman is rarely at the center of this praise. In fact, many aspects of his performance are critiqued. Or more damningly, that outside of the suit, Bale was barely a presence. Bruce Wayne in these movies has almost zero personality. Nolan's belief that Wayne is a mask translates into Bale being given nearly nothing to do in his uncostumed scenes. Bale himself feels he didn't live up to the role's potential, saying, "I didn't quite manage what I hoped I would through the trilogy. Chris did, but my own sense of self is like, I didn't quite nail it." Bale is rarely what people think of when they think of these films, so that is probably a fair statement. Someone in the reverse situation at number 4, Ben Affleck from Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. The most recent Batman to date, having his first appearance in 2016, Affleck was a breath of fresh air for many who were sold on the Nolan films, but not on Bale. Affleck gives the audience a Batman who is more defined, a Batman mixed with the cynicism and age of one from Frank Miller's A Dark Knight Returns. Affleck provides a different Batman on screen than any Batman that had been previously seen, an already broken one, yet who can still be inspired. Many people's favorite part of the BVS film, Batman in this also had a share of goofy moments / potentially murderous ones, but many were sold on the ease with which he portrayed the duality of living as Bruce Wayne, a clear mask that was a still defined persona, and a truly brutal Batman. However, while Affleck is excited about the prospect of a solo Batman film, he also seems to be chafing a bit under the enthusiasm and single-mindedness of Batman fans, who have been hounding him with Batman question after Batman question. It doesn't bode well if he's already tired of it after only a few years in the spotlight. DC hasn't had the best rep as of this recording, but we'll see what the future holds, not only for them, but for Batfleck. Someone who still wears the mantle with grace and ease in at number 3, we have Adam West from the 1960s TV series Batman. This show aired for 3 seasons during the years 1966 to 1968. Adam West is an iconic Batman, and his Batman is very silly. His distinctive voice and cadence has been parodied for years.
Let's go. But inconspicuously.
But there is a fondness to this show that was an homage to the Silver Age. West is very much the Batman of his time, straight-laced and good-natured, partaking in many zany adventures trying to teach wholesome lessons that are just utterly ridiculous. However, what many fail to realize is that the show itself is a parody or homage of the Silver Age of comics that everybody knew were silly but loved anyway. I mean, his mask has eyebrows drawn on. He has bat shark repellent. It's clearly trying to be silly.
Hand me down the shark repellent.
As for West, he gives it his all. He commits to this, and you believe that he really is this keen, dedicated Bruce Wayne. This commitment is part of what makes his Batman so fondly remembered. Even the modern day mockings are positive.
And how come Batman doesn't dance anymore? Remember the bat to see?
Adam West still gets called to do voice work in series as a tribute, and it's safe to say that people will still be watching his Batman for years to come. West's Batman in a strange way actually gave birth to our number 2, Michael Keaton from Batman and Batman Returns. When Burton was tasked with directing a new Batman film, people were excited. Batman hadn't fared well when it came to getting anything produced since the 70s, and people were ready for a darker take on The Dark Knight. However, people were less than sold upon hearing who was cast, initially at least. The choice of Keaton was met with with scorn. People thought he was too short, and his previous comedic background had people doubting his ability to be dark. However, in 1989, upon the film's release, people were singing a different tune. Keaton's Batman holds up to this day, emoting a brooding sadness. Keaton makes his Batman and Bruce Wayne feel distinct and human. On top of this, many cite the scene where Keaton says, "I'm Batman," as one of the defining moments of their childhood.
I'm Batman.
Keaton reignited excitement in Batman and showed that Batman could be dark, but still fun. For many, he's their fave, and it's easy to see why. Which leads us to, you knew he was coming. It's all been building up to this. And at number 1, we have Kevin Conroy from Batman the Animated Series. Running from 1992 to 1995, Conroy is the definitive Batman for many. And yes, voice acting is 100% acting. It takes just as much skill and finesse, and not just anyone can do it. I don't care what Chris Rock says. Conroy imbued his Batman and Bruce Wayne with distinctive characters and voices, and was the first to do so in a move that is now duplicated almost universally.
The audience knows him as well as I do. They would know in a second if I did something inauthentic.
His Batman was compassionate, nuanced, and very human. A good mentor, friend, and even adversary to his foes, Conroy made you care about Batman, and many say it's his voice they hear to this day when they read their comic books.
I am vengeance. I am the Knight.
On top of that, the 90s animated series introduced several backstories and even characters that are still in use today. It was a show that got Batman, and part of that may be because they had found the perfect actor to play him. If you have not seen it, check it out. He is vengeance, he is the Knight, he is Batman.
I am Batman!
So those were the top 10 Batman, ranked by the strength of their performance and their product as a whole. What do you think? Are you scandalized? Are you sharpening your pitchforks? Let me know your favorite Batman and why down below, but be nice. I'm Sasha Wood, thanks so much for watching Top 10 Nerd. Be sure to turn on your notifications for more super fun and nerdy lists.